My name is Jasmine Velasco, for those that I have not had the pleasure of meeting you. And I'm joined by my colleague, Fana Blanco. And we both work as parent and family engagement specialists under EAI. And we're really happy that you're here with us this morning. Some of you may have joined us since the beginning of the series. And for some of you, it might be your first time joining us, but to all, we want to welcome you. So please know that this session will be delivered in English, but we do have Spanish interpretation by our interpreter, Ms. Ruby Valdivia. And we also kindly ask you, if you haven't done so already, if you can please enter your first and last name in the chat. All names will be entered into a drawing at the end of today's session, and you will get a little gift card on our behalf as a thank you for being here today. And also, as a reminder, we will be recording this session just in case you want to rewatch the information, because there's a lot of resources you're going to learn about today. And if you would like to go back to it, you can always rewatch it or share it with someone else that you know might benefit from this information on our LUSD Parent and Family Engagement YouTube channel. And we're going to share the link throughout the presentation in the chat, so you can also have access to the link.
Buenos días y bienvenidos a la cuarta y última sesión de nuestra serie, Conocernos y Saludarnos. Mi nombre es Jasmine Velasco. Para aquellos que no he tenido el placer de conocer y me acompaña mi colega Fana Blanco, ambas trabajamos como especialistas en participación de padres y familia y estamos felices de que estén aquí con nosotros. Tengan en cuenta que esta sesión se impartirá en inglés con interpretación al español por nuestra intérprete, la señorita Ruby Valdivia. Les pedimos amablemente que comparta su nombre y apellido en el chat. Todos los nombres se inscribirán en un sorteo para un premio especial al final de la sesión. Además, como recordatorio, esta reunión se grabará y el video estará disponible para verlo en nuestro canal de YouTube. Puede buscar LUSD Parent and Family Engagement en YouTube para encontrarnos o hacer clic en el enlace compartido para acceder.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday. My name is Fana Blanco. And before we get started, we'd just like to share some housekeeping items as we spend our time together this morning. First of all, we do ask that you mute your microphone by clicking on the mute button, just to avoid any sound interference during the presentation. And second, please feel free to turn off your video camera if you don't feel comfortable having it on. But, you know, we do love to see your smiling faces. So if you do prefer, if you're comfortable, we would love to see you. And finally, we do ask for your patience, as we have, you know, in the past come across some connection issues. So we just really would like to ask for your patience during this time.
Buenos días a todos. Feliz martes. Mi nombre es Fana Blanco. Nos gustaría compartir algunos puntos esenciales para hacer esta reunión un poco más amena. En primer lugar, les pedimos que silencien su micrófono haciendo clic en el botón de silencio para evitar cualquier interferencia de sonido. En segundo lugar, siéntase libre de apagar su cámara de video si así lo prefiere, aunque nos encantaría ver sus caras sonrientes. Y finalmente, le pedimos paciencia en caso de que nos topemos con dificultades técnicas.
Okay, and then here are just a few additional functions that you may find helpful during this presentation. We have, first off, is the chat box. It's located on the bottom right-hand corner next to the shapes icon. Please feel free to type any comments or questions that you may have, and we'll do our best to respond. Okay, and then second, the raise your hand icon. There's an icon with the hand image is located directly in the middle of your screen. If you would like to raise your hand to notify us, when it's convenient to do so, we'll go ahead and let you know to unmute your mic, okay? And then the last one, if you need to leave the meeting, go ahead and use the red telephone icon. And as Jasmine mentioned earlier, this presentation will be is being recorded, and it will be uploaded onto the YouTube channel for your convenience.
Aquí hay algunas funciones.
Go ahead, Ruby, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Aquí hay algunas funciones adicionales que pueden resultar útiles durante nuestro tiempo juntos. La ventana del chat ubicada en la esquina inferior derecha al lado de las formas. No duden en escribir cualquier comentario o pregunta que pueda tener y haremos todo lo posible para responder. Levantar la mano si prefiere hacer sus preguntas o comentario verbalmente. Use el icono de la mano ubicado directamente en medio de su pantalla para notificarnos. Cuando sea conveniente hacerlo, le avisaremos para que active el sonido de su micrófono. Salir de la reunión es el icono de teléfono rojo en caso de que necesite salir de la reunión. Como mencionó Jasmine, esta presentación se arribará a nuestro canal de YouTube para su conveniencia.
Thank you, Ruby. So last week's session of our meet and greet series, we had the opportunity to meet the student services team and to get to know the various ways that their team supports students and families. Today, we have the pleasure of introducing you to the team members from both elementary and secondary departments who will share with you how their team supports students and families.
Durante la sesión de la semana pasada de nuestra serie Conocernos y Saludarnos, tuvimos la oportunidad de conocer al equipo de servicios estudiantiles y aprender sobre las diversas formas en que su equipo apoya a los estudiantes y familias. Hoy tenemos el placer de presentarles a miembros de los equipos de departamentos de primaria y secundaria, que compartirán con ustedes cómo sus equipos apoyan a nuestros estudiantes y familias.
And so without further ado, we would like to hand off the microphone, if you're ready, Mrs. Sandra Verduzco, Elementary Education Director.
Entonces, sin más preámbulos, nos gustaría entregar el micrófono a Ms. Verduzco, directora de Educación Primaria.
Good morning. Thank you so much, Ms. Blanco, Ms. Jasmine, Ms. Ruby. Thank you. Good morning, Lingwood families. Muy buenos días. It's a great pleasure and honor to be here with you this morning. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Sandra Verduzco, and I am the proud new director of elementary schools. Just to tell you a little bit about myself, I've been here in our Lingwood Unified School District serving our families for over 18 years. I did start teaching in Lingwood. I've taught second and fourth grade at different elementary schools. And then I was a proud principal for 8 years at 2 elementary schools. And I'm excited to join the elementary education department and continue the great work in supporting our students, our families, and our staff. Sorry, Ruby, do I stop now?
Please. I'm actually going
sorry.
to have you repeat the explanation about how many years you worked in here. Let me just go ahead and do the first part, okay?
I apologize, yes.
No, you're good. Thank you, though. Buenos días y muchas gracias. Es un gran placer. Muchas gracias a Jasmine, Fana y a Ruby. Es un gran placer y honor estar con ustedes esta mañana. Para aquellos que no me conocen, soy Sandra Verduzco y soy la orgullosa directora de Educación Primaria. He estado con el distrito por 18 años en varias funciones, ya sea como maestra, directora de 2 escuelas, y ahora soy la directora de Educación Primaria orgullosamente.
Thank you, Ruby. And it's a great honor to introduce my amazing team that make all the magic happen here from the Department of Education. And it is Selena Pinello, our principal on special assignment. We have our 2 amazing instructional leads, Evelyn Diaz and Anita Rivera, who are here with us. Our amazing secretary, Marisela Gonzalez, and our awesome office assistant, Socorro Gutierrez.
Y para mí es un gran honor introducir a todo mi equipo. Les presento el Departamento de Educación Primaria, que está compuesto por Selena Pinello, que es una directora en asignatura especial. Tenemos a Evelyn Díaz, Anita Rivera, que son líderes de la escuela primaria. Tenemos a mi secretaria, Marisela González, y a mi asistente de oficina, Socorro Gutiérrez.
Thank you. And what does the elementary education department do? Our main top priority is to support our 12 elementary schools. We support them in everything that takes place on campus. We support our students, our teachers, our staff, our administrators, and all the programs that take place. We ensure that we help our schools build and maintain a positive school culture. We support our families in keeping them active participants in the learning of everything that takes place on campus. And of course, we also support our teachers and our staff in improving capacity by offering them ongoing professional development opportunities, because we know that we always have room for growth. And that's just like a glimpse of everything that we do to ensure that our 12 elementary schools are fully supported.
Ahora la pregunta es, ¿qué hacemos como departamento? Bueno, pues apoyamos a nuestras 12 primarias, estudiantes, maestros y administradores. Nos aseguramos de ayudar a nuestras escuelas y a mantener una cultura positiva y eficaz. Apoyamos a nuestros maestros y equipo ofreciéndoles desarrollo profesional y asesorándonos de que estén bien equipados para que puedan ofrecer una educación completa.
Thank you. And I also want to emphasize the importance of homeschool communication. We need your parents, we need our families, we need to continue working together. Research shows that working with our families contributes to higher student achievement. It is very important that when you have any questions regarding your child's education, any concerns, that you bring it to our attention right away. It's also important to follow the proper channels of communication. I have been having the pleasure of meeting many families across the district, but I would like to remind you that whenever you have a specific question or concern, we encourage you to talk to your child's teacher first. Many times, many of our questions and concerns can be addressed at a much faster pace when we talk to the teacher, right? Because he or she is the one that is closer or closely working with your child. I'm going to stop there, Ruby, and then I'll continue.
Thank you. También quiero enfatizar la importancia de la comunicación. Les alentamos a que nos hagan preguntas respecto a la educación de sus hijos. He tenido el placer enorme de trabajar con varias escuelas del distrito, con varias familias, y les pedimos que por favor nos comuniquemos con nuestros maestros, porque la primera vía de comunicación es por ende el maestro. ¿Por qué? Porque tiene el contacto con nuestros hijos y es la persona o punto de contacto más eficaz y que nos puede ayudar a resolver cualquier duda o algo que nos concierne.
Yes. And then if you feel that that your concern or your questions aren't being addressed, then we encourage you to also talk to the school principal or the school administrator. You know, many times we have families that come to the district and they're sharing their concerns, and by all means, we are here to support. We are here to serve you. But many times we don't speak to the site administrator, and we have to go back and include our site administrators because they are also the ones that are overseeing and supporting everything that's happening on campus. So we also encourage you to speak with the administrator and work with them in resolving the concerns or questions that you might have. Once again, if you feel that your concerns are not being addressed the way you would want them to be addressed, we always welcome you to come. I am going in a minute, I'm going to include my email address and phone number in the chat. We are here for you. Anything that we can do to support you, we are always happy to do so.
Y por último, si sienten que sus preocupaciones no están siendo resueltas, les alentamos a que se comuniquen con los directores. ¿Por qué? Porque esencialmente estamos aquí para apoyarles. Les alentamos a hablar y a resolver lo que les concierna. En breve incluiré mi número de teléfono y mi correo electrónico para que se puedan contactar conmigo en caso de que tengan alguna pregunta o algo que les concierne. Con mucho gusto estaré disponible para ayudarles.
Thank you so much. And I can keep talking and talking and talking, but I know there's a lot more that's happening. I'm very happy to be here with all of you. And once again, anything that you need, we're here to support. And I wish everyone an amazing day today. Thank you so much.
Muchas gracias a todos. Puedo seguir hablando, más sin embargo, les quiero dar las gracias por brindarme este espacio y este tiempo y invertir su tiempo con nosotros, primariamente. Así que les deseo un muy buen día y muchas gracias por este espacio que me han brindado.
Thank you, Ms. Verduzco.
Okay, so good morning, everyone. Can you hear me?
I can barely hear you. I hear you like very far away.
Okay, let me see if taking my mask off will help. Does that help a little bit?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank
Yes.
you so much.
Okay. Okay, so good morning, everyone. My name is Anita Rivera, as Ms. Verduzco mentioned, and we are honored to be here with you this morning. As Ms. Verduzco mentioned as well, we do support all elementary sites, all administrators, instructional leads, teachers, and students, and everybody in between. And with one of those tasks that we have that we focus on the most is with our curriculum. And our curriculum, we have our math. Our core curriculum is our math that is between Go Math, and we also encourage the use of Swan Math. We have journeys for ELA for grades K through 5th and study sinks for grade 6. And then we also have started or will start shortly using our new history program and looking into adopting a new science curriculum as well. But what I wanted to share with you today, I do work closely with Ms. Evelyn Diaz, who you'll meet in just a few minutes, who will go over some of the supplemental resources that we encourage use in our classes. I wanted to review with you our ELA matrices, speak a little bit about our math pacing guide, and how we have or how we introduce our curriculum and content standards so that students are prepared for their learning in class as well as for the SBAC assessments at the end of the year. So I will go over quickly our more Swan Math and Go Math. Go Math is our core curriculum, and it is used in correlation with Swan Math. Our Swan Math has 3 components, 3 trimesters. I'm going to stop right there. I'm so sorry, Ruby. I forget that we are translating as well.
It's okay, thank you. Buenos días, me llamo Anita Rivera. Como mencionó Ms. Verduzco, apoyamos a todas las elementales, maestros y estudiantes, y nuestro enfoque es el siguiente. Lo que quiero compartir con ustedes es un repaso del matriz educacional y cómo introducimos nuestro currículum en las escuelas. Go Math es nuestro currículum que dura 3 trimestres.
Okay, so our Go Math is our core, and our Swan Math is our supplemental, but we do follow Swan Math, but it does correlate with Go Math. Our Swan Math has 3 trimesters.
Swan Matemáticas es nuestro suplemental y tiene 3 trimestres.
And we do provide our teachers and students with pacing guides.
Y proveemos a nuestros maestros y estudiantes con guías.
And with that, they do take 3 assessments throughout the year, and they have available for them coaches from the company that come to the school sites to provide additional support for both teachers and students.
Y con ello toman 3 asesorías mediante el año entero. También tienen apoyo de esta compañía, en donde mandan a equipo de la misma compañía para que les puedan ayudar a nuestros maestros y estudiantes con apoyo adicional.
So in collaboration for our ELA matrices, we have collaborated with teachers to create a matrix that has our content standards scheduled throughout the year.
En colaboración con nuestra matriz LA, hemos trabajado con nuestros maestros para darles a conocer el contenido que vamos a estar sacando.
So our ELA matrices have approximately 25 focus standards.
Nuestra matriz de LA tiene 25 estándares de enfoque.
And they are split among 5 units. So every unit contains 5 standards.
Y están divididos en 5 unidades. Cada unidad mantiene 5 estándares por unidad.
Each of those units usually lasts about 5 to 6 weeks, and they end with a common assessment that we have created based on the content, the claims and targets, and the stems that are provided to us that mirror SBAC.
Cada unidad dura de 5 a 6 semanas y viene con contenido que nosotros hemos preparado para preparar a nuestros estudiantes a la hora de que vayan a tomar el examen de SBAC.
Sorry, you froze on my side. Were you done, Ruby?
Yes, I was.
Thank you. I
No.
apologize for that. So one of the main things that we focus on after these common assessments is our data reflection sessions, where we are able to help support our administrators and teachers to identify areas of success and areas of difficulty that our students may have had.
Una de las cosas principales de enfoque son nuestras asesorías de datos. Can you repeat that last part? I couldn't hear you.
Our data reflection sessions, where we support our administrators and teachers to identify student successes and identify difficult areas that they may have had.
Nuestras reflexiones de asesoría en donde apoyamos a nuestros maestros, estudiantes y al equipo.
We take time to analyze our performance for our subgroups, such as our English learners and so on, to identify any strategies that we may be able to implement during instruction to help them to learn.
Tomamos tiempo para analizar el rendimiento y asesorar si es que podemos integrar nuevas herramientas para mejorar el rendimiento.
We look forward into our upcoming units to make sure that we identify any areas of difficulty that our students may come across, so that we prepare ourselves to be able to apply strategies during our instruction, so that we may tackle those before we find that there are any problems.
Y nos fijamos en nuestras unidades próximas para poder percatarnos de cualquier percance que podamos encontrarnos.
So based on our data, because data does drive our instruction, we make sure that we take the time to analyze our student performances to anticipate anything that may come, so that we are better prepared.
Y basado en nuestros datos, analizamos a nuestros estudiantes y su rendimiento para podernos asesorar y prepararnos para cualquier percance que podamos encontrarnos más a futuro.
So that is the main focus out of our matrices and how our curriculum and instruction is delivered throughout the school year.
Ese es el enfoque de nuestra matriz y cómo el currículum está desprendido y cómo está desarrollado mediante el año escolar.
So Ms. Evelyn Diaz, she's going to talk about additional resources that we use for additional assessments and other resources for instruction.
Así que sin más preámbulos, le doy la palabra a Ms. Evelyn Diaz, que les estará hablando más a detalle de los recursos que le estaremos ofreciendo.
Hi, good morning. So
Good morning.
Good morning. One of the resources that we use for assessment is the Adam and Dora test from Let's Go Learn. Adam and Dora, the students are assessed 3 times a year at the beginning, at middle, and end.
Una de las asesorías que ofrecemos es Adam y Dora. Los estudiantes se les hace una evaluación 3 veces al año, al inicio, a medio año y a final de año.
Yes, and for these are for 1st through 6th grade, and kinder is assessed at the end.
Esto es para primer grado a 6º grado y kinder a kinder se le ofrece la evaluación a final de año.
Okay, so Dora is a diagnostic assessment. It assesses the reading, the skills such as high frequency, words, word recognition, phonics, spelling, vocabulary, and comprehension.
Dora básicamente es evaluación diagnóstica de lectura en línea, evalúa las habilidades fundamentales de lectura, como palabras de uso frecuente, reconocimiento de palabras, fonética, ortografía, vocabulario y comprensión.
Adam is the math one, and it assesses the math skills. So like anything that has to do with number and operation, measurement, data, geometry, and algebraic thinking.
Adam es evaluación diagnóstica adaptativa para matemáticas, la evaluación diagnóstica adaptativa para evaluar todas las habilidades matemáticas que se espera que los estudiantes sepan antes de álgebra. Las ramas que se cubren son números, operaciones, medición, datos, geometría y pensamiento algebraico.
Okay, and based on these scores, they are getting into the EDGE instruction. So this is where the students are given the opportunity to practice the concepts that they have not mastered.
Basado en estos datos, a los estudiantes les ofrecemos la oportunidad de poder practicar las habilidades que aún no han perfeccionado.
Yes, and in ELA and math. So students get instruction in their math and the reading, the concepts that they need the most help with.
Y esta instrucción es recibida en ELA y matemáticas en los conceptos que aún no han podido entender por completo.
Yes, and teachers use this information in order to form small group instruction as well.
Los maestros utilizan esta información para formar grupos de pequeña instrucción.
Okay. And we also have other online resources that we use, supplemental resources such as, if we can go to the next one. So like Next Gen Math in order for them to practice some more. Bookflix, which offers reading comprehension books online. Newsela, which is articles, informational articles. Class Time, which is another platform that we use in order to test students for kinder and first. And it also offers the teachers practice for the SPAC, for questions for math and English and reading, sorry.
Y tenemos otros recursos suplementarios que son los consecuentes. Todo el plan de estudio básico va en esta orden. Ofrecemos Next Gen Math, Bookflix, Newsela, en donde pueden leer artículos, Class Time, en donde pueden básicamente los maestros emplear exámenes que más o menos como se asimilan o se asemejan al SPAC. También utilizamos SIPS y MathShout para kinder de transición.
Okay. And that's it for us.
Y eso es todo para nosotros. Muchas gracias por brindarnos este espacio y por su tiempo.
All right. Thank you. And
Thank you.
And this is, if you find any information on the Linwood website, you can go under elementary education. This is where you can find the curriculum, the matrices, if you want to know what your child is trying to learn each unit.
Y por último, para que puedan acceder a el currículum y al matriz, les pido que por favor vayan a la página del distrito, hagan clic en la palabra departamentos y de ahí somos el segundo departamento a mano derecha para que ustedes puedan acceder a esta información y para que puedan estar al tanto de los recursos y el currículum que se le está ofreciendo a su hijo.
Thank you to our elementary education team. And I'm sure that a lot of these resources our families can have access to. Am I correct? At home, I'm sure they can access some of these supplemental resources to support their students.
Yes, so Let's Go Learn, the app, there's an app for them to use at home. I'm sure that last year they know about it and everything. They were able to use it in practice. This year, the same thing. They have the app that you can use it at home. Next Gen, you're also able to use it at home. Just, using it through your Chromebook, the kids' Chromebooks and everything. So yes, most of these you can access at home.
Muchas gracias por estos recursos, por informarnos de los recursos que están disponibles para nuestros hijos. Mi pregunta es que si estos recursos se pueden utilizar en casa y si la mayor parte de estos recursos son disponibles para que se puedan utilizar en casa desde su ordenador.
So families, please make a note of that. That way you can explore some of these resources at home and let us know, and also test them out with your children and see how they can connect to what they're already learning in the classroom as they share. Thank
Tomen
you.
nota de estos recursos para que puedan acceder a ellos y más o menos se puedan familiarizar con las aplicaciones que están utilizando sus hijos para reforzar su currículum. Gracias.
And I think we're getting ready to, we want to thank the elementary education team for sharing all the wonderful work that they're doing with our teachers and here at our district and the different resources that they shared. And I believe we have our secondary education department who we are going to now be sharing some of the information and resources that they have for our secondary students. And like they said, a lot of this information, you can go back to their website and find this information in case there's a lot of information at this time.
Queremos agradecer al Departamento de Educación Primaria. Muchas gracias por compartir todos los recursos que están disponibles para nuestros estudiantes. Y sin más preámbulo, le cedemos el paso y la palabra al Departamento de Educación Secundaria.
So secondary ed, it's all yours.
Departamento de Educación Secundaria, el piso es de ustedes.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for having me. My name is Juan Barroso. I am the coordinator here at the Secondary Education Department for León Unified.
Buenos días a todos, me llamo Juan Barroso y trabajo con el Departamento de Educación Secundaria, soy el coordinador.
And our director wasn't able to be here today. She's at a conference, but our director is Cristina Rossi.
Nuestra directora no pudo estar presente porque está en una conferencia, no, sin embargo, se llama Ms. Cristina Arostegui.
And before I get to the rest of our staff, what our secondary education department does is similar to what elementary education does, is we provide supports to our staff, our teachers, our students from middle school to high school to adult school and all our alternative programs.
Y antes de entrar a detalle, lo que hacemos como departamento es que nosotros apoyamos a las secundarias y a bachillerato con programas adicionales, con apoyo adicional.
So some of our staff members, myself, I oversee a lot of the programs that deal with career technical education. We have Mariana Astorga Almanza, who oversees the visual and performing arts.
Yo estoy a cargo de supervisar programas de educación. Tenemos a Ms. Mariana Astorga Almanza, que se encarga de las artes esenciales.
And we have two instructional leads in our staff, David Ramirez and Cristiana Camateros.
Y tenemos a dos líderes secundarios, que son David Ramírez y Cristiana Camateros.
And our office staff is our secretary, Lizette Cajero, and our office assistant, Maria Romero.
Y como equipo de la oficina tenemos a nuestra secretaria, que está compuesta por Lizette Cajero, y asistente de oficina, que es María Romero.
And at the end of the meeting, I'll leave our information on the chat. You have our numbers and our emails.
Y al final de esta reunión compartiré los datos de nuestra oficina y de nuestro departamento para que se puedan comunicar con nosotros en caso de que tengan alguna pregunta.
And so what I wanted to discuss today was really an emphasis for our department is the college and career readiness standards for students in the state level. So our department emphasizes this within all our work.
Y lo que quiero hablar es el énfasis de nuestro departamento, que es el preparar a nuestros estudiantes para la universidad.
And so the first one I wanted to cover was the Atg Requirements. And these are a set of courses that students have to take in order to meet college and career readiness, college readiness for the CSU or UC schools after they graduate high school.
Como departamento apoyamos las escuelas de grado 7 a 12, preparación para la universidad y carreras. Lo primero es completar los requisitos A a G y normalmente estos requisitos se requieren para que los estudiantes estén preparados a la hora de entrar a una universidad, ya sea UC o Cal State.
And this is the way we measure students to see how prepared they are for college. By completing these courses, students are showing that they're ready for college and they're ready to take on their eventual courses that they have to take at college.
Y la forma en la que nosotros medimos el que nuestros estudiantes estén preparados para ingresar a la universidad es el que ellos completen estos cursos. Una vez los estudiantes completen o hayan finalizado los requerimientos de A a G, quiere decir que están totalmente preparados para entrar a la universidad.
And if you need any more information on what the Atg requirements are, on our website, we also have the Atg requirements listed. So you can see the list of courses that students would take for that completion.
Y si necesitan más información respecto a los requisitos A a G, en nuestra página web del distrito tenemos más información respecto a estos requisitos y los cursos que deberían de tomar para estar preparados y que satisfacen el A a G.
And the second way of a student showing college and career readiness is taking career tech educational courses, as well as completing pathways along the way within their high school. For example, if a student starts with their biomedical sciences program, that they take 4 years of biomedical sciences and completes it, and it shows that students are ready for a career at the end of high school.
Y la segunda forma de que el estudiante puede mostrar que está preparado para la universidad es como por ejemplo tomando cursos técnicos, como tomando bioquímica y siendo totalmente exitoso en ese curso. Quiere decir, si es que su emprendimiento y su rendimiento en ese curso es exitoso, normalmente indica que está preparado para un nivel universitario.
And we have all our programs for career technical education listed on our website. So if you're interested, we also have a link for that as well.
También tenemos a todos nuestros programas para carreras técnicas en nuestra página web, en caso de que quieran acceder a ellos y para que se puedan informar un poco más de lo que ofrecemos.
And a third way of showing college and career readiness is taking college classes, which we offer at our high schools, and we offer students opportunities to work with our community college partners.
Y una tercera forma de poder evaluar si su estudiante está preparado para la universidad es que tome clases universitarias, y estas clases universitarias normalmente se ofrecen en los bachilleratos, o sea, las high schools.
And we have programs that we already have with Compton College, which offers students the opportunity to take courses within their 6 periods to take one college course per semester. We also have after-school college classes for students.
Y también tenemos programas en conjunto con el Colegio de Compton, en donde les permite a nuestros estudiantes tomar una clase, ya sea mediante el día o después de escuela. Pero estas son clases de nivel universitario, quiero recalcar.
And similar to what our instructional leads from elementary were talking about, is students have to show proficiency in math and reading and writing. This also determines their preparation for college and career.
Y similarmente a lo que comentó el Departamento de Educación Primaria, los estudiantes tienen que demostrar competencia en LA, ya sea lenguajes y matemáticas.
And so I think it's really important that students early on understand like where they're at, especially like at the elementary level. If your child is struggling with math or writing or reading early on, it's important to get additional support that we offer. So that way they could meet those levels, especially if they're not meeting their standards in their testing.
Creo que es muy importante que los estudiantes estén al tanto del nivel educacional en el cual se encuentran, y más aparte, que busquen la ayuda necesaria si es que no están en ese nivel educacional, para que puedan llegar a ese nivel y poder tomar estos cursos y poder avanzar académicamente.
And another way of demonstrating college and career readiness is the advanced placements classes. So we have an IB program and we have the AP program. So these classes are high school classes, but that offer students opportunities to get college credit if they pass their exams.
Y otra forma en la cual pueden demostrar que están preparados para atender a la universidad es tomando cursos avanzados.
And another way of demonstrating college career readiness is the seal of biliteracy. I think Ms. Garcia will talk about this later. But this is a way of showing that you're proficient in both languages, whether Spanish or English.
Y por último, pero no menos importante, la última forma en la que pueden demostrar que están preparados para la universidad es con la insignia bilingüe. Y básicamente lo que quiere decir esto es que el estudiante domina ambos idiomas perfectamente bien.
Next slide. Okay. So we do have important partnerships that are available to students to be able to get support when they need support or do additional activities within the school.
Y tenemos asociaciones muy importantes e invaluables que están disponibles para nuestros estudiantes.
So Movement and Educare are two programs that have tutoring available, and they also provide additional activities for students.
Los primeros son Movimiento, conocido como Movement, y Educare, que proporcionan a nuestra comunidad con tutoría y recursos adicionales, actividades adicionales para nuestros estudiantes.
And CalApps is our partnership with Bellflower and Paramount, which we offer career technical courses after school.
Y también tenemos el programa CalApps, que normalmente ayuda con programas técnicos para nuestros estudiantes.
And we have partnerships with these three community colleges: Compton College, Long Beach City, and Cerritos.
Y tenemos asociaciones con estos tres colegios: el colegio de Compton, el colegio de Long Beach y el colegio de Cerritos.
At the high school level, students have support staff that is available for getting ready for college and career. So these groups of people, CalSO, USC advisors, and our College and Career Center, they help students to learn about what they need to do to apply and to get financial aid.
Y por último, en bachillerato tenemos estos recursos para nuestros estudiantes que se llama el Centro Universitario y Profesional, en donde se encuentran asesores de CalSUB y USC, y básicamente lo que hacen es que informan a nuestros estudiantes de cuáles son los procesos que requieren hacer, como por ejemplo, si yo quiero ir a la universidad, ¿qué necesito? ¿Qué documentación tengo que llevar? ¿Qué necesito? ¿Qué requisitos requiero para que me den ayuda financiera? Y todo eso que es invaluable para todos nuestros estudiantes y que puedan tener una educación pues que sea más accesible.
And we do have partnerships at the middle school level with Charles Drew. They're offering STEM classes. They're going to be offering STEM classes after school, and Think Together is the after school program that's always available for students.
Y en la secundaria tenemos a Think Together, que va a estar ofreciendo classes de STEM.
And just put some notes for students and for parents. For students, what colleges look for is really how involved is the student, how much have they done within, not just within high school, but outside of high school. What do they do to show that they're ready for college and career?
Y para los estudiantes, normalmente lo que buscan las universidades es qué tan involucrado está el estudiante, qué tan preparado está para entrar a la universidad, si hizo ayuda comunitaria, si fue un estudiante involucrado y dedicado en su comunidad. Normalmente eso es lo que buscan.
And just for parents, the biggest thing that you can keep track of is the grades and the attendance. For Atg requirements, students should not get below a C in any class in high school.
Y para los padres es primordial y muy esencial que lleven un registro de la asistencia y las calificaciones. Y can you repeat that last part about Atg?
Yeah. For Atg, students should not get anything below a C in any high school class.
Y para que puedan llenar el requisito de AAG, los estudiantes no deberían de recibir una calificación de menos de 8, que es equivalente a una C.
And lastly, I wanted to just kind of share some resources that we have online. So we have the paper tutoring online, which is offered to all students from our high schools. We have Turnitin and we have Musiala.
Y por último, unos recursos útiles disponibles para los estudiantes: Paper, tutoría en línea; Turnitin, que se traduce a Entrégalo; Newsella; y Alberto.io.
And for parents, just I know most of them have access, but keeping track of what's in their Aries portal for students.
Y para los padres sé que la mayoría tienen acceso, mas sin embargo les brindamos el recurso de Aries para que mantengan al tanto la asistencia de sus hijos y las calificaciones que llevan.
And that's my last part. But I'll put my information on the chat so that way you have any more
Y eso es todo para mi departamento. Les brindaré mi información en el chat para que se puedan contactar conmigo en caso de que tengan alguna pregunta.
Thank you, Mr. Barroso. You shared a wealth of information as well. I know we don't just have elementary families, but secondary. But I have a trick question. Let's see if our participants can get it right. So Mr. Barroso made reference to when or what should we do how early should we start looking at our children's grades to see they're prepared for college? Let's see if a participant can share with us.
Muchas gracias, Mr. Barroso, por compartir toda esta información con nosotros. Y una pregunta para nuestros escuchavientes. ¿Qué tan temprano nos deberíamos de fijar si nuestros estudiantes están preparados para la universidad?
Let's see in the chat, we see elementary, middle school, junior high. Anyone else? Elementary. So if I'm not mistaken, and as I was listening as well, and as a former classroom teacher myself, it's never too early. So he did say that if our children are struggling in math and ELA early on in the school years, that should be a little red flag for us as families to start thinking ahead, because we want to prevent them from struggling when they get to middle or high school. So the key is to start early. So right now, as we're in the beginning of the school year, let's take advantage of all these resources to see how can we tackle that so that they're ready and prepared by the time they get to high school. And even when they get to high school, we can't leave them, right? It's even from what he shared that they need to be very involved, and they need to be taking classes to show that they're prepared for college or career. So we're very thankful that you're here to share all these resources to continue to support them.
Muchas gracias por compartir todos estos recursos para apoyar a nuestros estudiantes y a nuestras familias. Y la respuesta es que entre más temprano mejor. ¿Por qué? Porque tenemos que más o menos identificar cuáles son las áreas en las que nuestros hijos están batallando para poderles brindar ese apoyo que es necesario para que no se vayan a atrasar, porque normalmente esto es como construir una casa. Pones un ladrillo y si no entiendes el primer cimiento que pusiste, pues todo lo demás te va a ser totalmente difícil de entender. Entonces, es invaluable que vayamos construyendo esos cimientos para que nuestros hijos tengan una educación exitosa y que no batallen.
So I know I'm like, as a parent, I'm already like, oh gosh, I have a high schooler, so I know I need to, I'm gonna do exactly what he says. Start looking at everything that they're taking, their classes, their attendance, activities. Okay. So thank you for making note of that as you're listening to all this information. I know we have a question in the chat. Mr. Barroso, I don't know if you want to tackle it. It says, so Ms. Veronica Saavedra is asking, what if my son got bad grades during COVID year? He did make up some credits during summer school. So what then? What do we do if that's a situation?
So what we do for students that do have grades below a C, we offer them opportunities to take the course again. So they could take the course after school during summer. Right now we have a lot of students taking courses as well as like using our online programs to be able to take courses as well. So the counselors are the ones that can see those grades and see where the student is at, and they'll be able to help the student get the right courses that they need.
Y tenemos una pregunta en el chat. La pregunta es que si mi hijo sacó calificaciones bajas en tiempos de COVID, mediante cuando estábamos haciendo aprendizaje a distancia, y la respuesta es, les ofrecemos la oportunidad para retomar esas clases, ya sea después de escuela, en el verano o en línea, más sin embargo los consejeros son los que les pueden asesorar un poco más respecto a el emprendimiento académico que lleva su hijo.
Thank you, Mr. Barroso, for the information. And again, he shared, I believe, his email in the chat, if I'm not mistaken. If not, he'll, in case you have any more questions in regards to some of these online support services, And again, we will be posting this information so you can go back and really get a chance to look at all the different resources.
Muchas gracias a Mr. Barroso por esta información invaluable. Creo que compartió su correo electrónico en el chat. Mas, sin embargo, toda esta información y los recursos que nos hicieron disponibles los estaremos compartiendo con ustedes al final de esta sesión.
And I believe we have one more team member who is going to be sharing with us a little bit more. I know we're getting closest to our end time, but so we thank you for being patient and taking advantage of all this information. And I believe we have Ms. Aranzazu Garcia, who is ready to share with us.
Y si mal no me equivoco, creo que tenemos a una integrante más que presentará, a Ms. Aranzazu García. Si estás preparada para presentar con nosotros, te cedemos la palabra.
Hello, everyone. I apologize. I was here with a student and they just picked him up for lunch. Thank you for being here today. As they just said, my name is Aranzazu Garcia and I am the English Learner Coordinator for Lingua Unified District K-12, TK-12.
Buenos días a todos. Gracias por estar aquí. Me llamo Aranzazu García y soy la coordinadora del programa para estudiantes de inglés, encargada de Kinder al nivel 12avo.
Here are some of the responsibilities that fall under the Eld Coordinator job description. So I will go over a few of them in more detail, but basically, I oversee the initial identification and assessment for English learners or possible English learners. I also oversee the Lpac assessment, the annual one. I look into the ELD instruction in elementary and secondary. I oversee the EL monitoring process to make sure that English learners are doing good in their courses. And if not, what can we do? I oversee reclassification. I support the dual immersion program in Linwood, which is held at Will Rogers Elementary. Myself with Mr. Barroso, we look at the seal of biliteracy for students in the 12th grade in high school. I oversee the Avid Excel program that is held in middle school, 7th and 8th. And then I take care of Eld Professional Development for teachers and administrators. Next. And translate.
Thank you. Y aquí hay una de las responsabilidades que están bajo mi trabajo. Me dedico a la identificación y evaluación inicial, evaluación sumativa anual del Lpac, instrucción de Eld, monitoreo EL, reclasificación, inmersión dual ofrecido en Will Rogers, insignia bilingüe con Mr. Barroso, también Avid Excel, que normalmente es ofrecido en secundarias, y el desarrollo profesional de nuestros maestros y administradores en respecto a ELD.
Okay, this is a little bit of the initial identification and notification to parents. So when students first enroll in TK or kindergarten, they become part of the California education system. And based on the answers of the home language survey that is included in your enrollment packet, my department takes a look and we decide which students should be assessed to figure out if they are English learners or not. So that test will let us know if the student is strong in English or the student still needs support for English.
So, este es un poco del proceso de la identificación inicial cuando se registran a los estudiantes de TK. Basado en el documento en la encuesta de casa, les haremos una asesoría, un examen para determinar si es que son estudiantes que necesitan apoyo con el idioma inglés.
I also, like I said, look at the notifications that we send you home, and we will inform you if we are going to give them that initial assessment.
Me fijo en las notificaciones y nosotros les informamos si es que les vamos a hacer esa evaluación inicial.
This part of my job is in collaboration with the EAI department, and the people that oversee the whole process and the data are our test technicians, Sonia Gutierrez and Elja Guevara.
Esta parte de mi trabajo es en colaboración con el equipo del departamento de EAI y es en colaboración con Las asistentes de prueba, Sonia Gutiérrez y Eld Guevara.
Next. Okay. ELD, it's as it says right there, English language development. It is the mandatory instruction for every English learner to receive throughout their every day. For elementary, ELD happens for 45 minutes a day. And usually it is the students, the English learners are grouped by language proficiency. In secondary, if they are new to the country, they have ELD classes, 1, 2, or 3. And if they have been here for a long time, but they are still English learners, they have ELD inside their English period for a period of time.
ELD es el desarrollo del idioma inglés y es instrucción obligatoria diaria y dura 45 minutos al día. Y en secundaria se les ofrece a los estudiantes en sus clases de literatura.
The next part is the Summative Lpac. The Summative Lpac is the test that all English learners take every year to see if they are improving in their English proficiency from one level to the next. This year, the group tests for the Lpac, these are important dates, are March 21st through March 31st. The reason I want you to write those if your child is an English learner is because attendance is very important during those days. If they do miss the test, then we will have to catch them up later, and it's by law that they need to all take this test while they are English learners.
La próxima parte es el Lpac sumativo, en donde evaluamos si los estudiantes son proficientes en el idioma inglés. Esto se lleva a cabo del 21 de marzo al 31 de marzo y es invaluable que los estudiantes y la asistencia de los estudiantes sea perfecta en esos días. ¿Por qué? Porque por ley tienen que tomar este examen y si pierden, pues si fallan o no están ese día, tendremos que hacer, no sé, ponerlos para que tomen ese examen en cualquier otro día, porque se tiene que tomar de cualquier forma.
Thank you. The next part in the center of this slide is the Avid Excel program. Avid Excel is a language acquisition program for English learners in 7th and 8th grade that have not yet reclassified in elementary. The focus is language acquisition and academic language. And this is the recommendation as an elective for every 7th or 8th grader who has not reclassified.
Y la próxima parte es el programa Avid Excel para grados de 7 a 8. Y la adquisición, básicamente nos enfocamos en la adquisición del programa y el lenguaje académico. Entonces, durante los grados 7 y 8, los niños tienen que estar en Avid Excel.
It's a recommendation that they elect this elective if they are long-term English learners.
Es una recomendación que elijan esta clase si es que son aprendices de inglés.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next part in blue, you have that blue posted, is the seal of biliteracy. The seal of biliteracy is granted to students that can show proficiency in more than one language other than English. So they have to show proficiency in English and proficiency in another language. They can achieve the seal of biliteracy before the 12th grade, but we do not give it to them until the 12th grade. And the seal will be stuck to their certificate at graduation.
Y lo próximo que les vamos a presentar, si ven el papelito azul que está aquí en la pantalla, es para la insignia bilingüe, es dada a los estudiantes que muestran proficiencia en más de un idioma y la pueden adquirir antes de el 12º grado.
But we will put it in the certificate at graduation.
Y esta insignia bilingüe se va a hacer disponible en el certificado de graduación.
Okay. Linwood really wants to promote bilingualism because it opens doors in the future. And a lot of the colleges are starting to recognize the seal of biliteracy as proof of being bilingual. So we strongly encourage students to work from the middle school or at least from the 9th grade, to achieve the seal of biliteracy.
Denver quiere promover que los estudiantes sean bilingües, así que alentamos a los estudiantes a que empiecen a trabajar desde que estén en secundaria para que puedan obtener este sello o insignia bilingüe.
To show proficiency in English, they have to do 2.0 GPA and pass their ELA SPAC in 11th grade.
Para mostrar proficiencia en inglés tienen que reflejar un 2.0 en su GPA. And what was the last part?
And pass their SPAC 11th grade.
Y tienen que pasar su SPAC en el 11º grado.
To show proficiency in the other language, they have to do 4 years of foreign language and pass, or pass an AP or AB exam in the foreign language.
Para mostrar proficiencia en este idioma extranjero, tienen que haber tomado 4 años de esta clase o haber pasado un examen de AP o AB de examen extranjero para dominio del idioma.
Thank you. The bottom part is about the EL committee. The EL committee, it's a committee formed by many stakeholders that include teachers, leads, parents, testing assistants, and administration, and review and update the EL Master Plan for Linwood Unified School District.
La porción de abajo es para el comité de EL y está compuesto por administradores, oficiales de DLAC, maestros, asistentes de prueba.
Okay. They review and update the EL Master Plan for the district.
Revisan y actualizan el plan de EL para el distrito.
Very good. Right there are the dates where this committee will meet this year. And the parent representation comes from our DLAC officers.
Y ahí están las fechas disponibles en las cuales estos comités se van a estar reuniendo.
And the parent representation is the DLAC officers.
Y la representación de los padres será por medio de los oficiales de DLAC.
Thank you. Next. Okay. The other 2 things that we described there are, one, the EL monitoring. The EL monitoring, like I said, is the process in which we make sure that the English learners are not failing their courses, any course. So the teachers have to monitor if the English learners are getting D's and F's, and what can they do, what kind of supports or interventions they can offer so that the students can improve those scores.
Y continuado está el programa de aprendices de inglés en el monitoreo EL. Supervisamos el progreso de todos los ELs en el logro de la competencia en el idioma inglés y en la adquisición de conocimientos sobre el contenido. Si normalmente el estudiante tiene una D o una F, trabajamos en conjunto con los maestros para poderles preparar para el monitoreo de EL.
If you are an elementary parent, during the parent conferences, if your child is an English learner, the teacher will show you the report card and also the EL monitoring form. In the EL monitoring form, the teacher will tell you what is the teacher's concern and will offer you some kind of intervention.
Y si eres un padre de estudiante de primaria, durante las conferencias los maestros les mostrarán la tarjeta de calificaciones y más aparte les van a mostrar el documento de monitoreo de EL y les van a hacer recomendaciones o sugerencias para que su hijo se pueda preparar más para esto y esté más equipado.
If you're a secondary parent, the teachers will monitor D's and F's, and if they make a recommendation for an intervention, you should either get an email or a parent square message.
Y si eres un padre de secundaria, los maestros normalmente monitorean las D's o las F's y te van a mandar un comunicado por Parent Square para dejarte saber cuáles son las recomendaciones que ellos tienen respecto a tu estudiante.
Or through email.
O vía correo electrónico.
Okay. The last part is reclassification. Reclassification is the process whereby a student is an English learner is reclassified and becomes English fluent. And that's what we call the RFIPs.
Y la última parte es la reclasificación, que normalmente es el proceso mediante el cual un estudiante es reclasificado del estado de aprendiz de inglés al estado de dominio del inglés fluido, conocido como RFIP.
Next slide. This is the criteria to reclassify. This slide is in English and the next one is in Spanish. So when Ms. Ruby is going to do the translation, we can move it forward. Okay. The first thing that an English learner needs to do to reclassify is pass the LPAC test with a level 4. That's the first step. Anything less than a level 4 will immediately not qualify that student for reclassification. After that, we need to look at how they are doing academically in English. And we look at their SPAC or their Dora, their unit assessments, or their GPA for secondary. If we consider that they are making progress in English, then they meet criteria 2. The third criteria is the teacher recommendation. The teacher needs to let us know if the student, in fact, is performing at the same level as the students who are not English learners in that classroom. And the last one is the parent consultation. So the last part, we tell the parents the student has met criteria 1, 2, and 3, and consult with them if they agree that the child is ready to be reclassified. Next slide, so Ms. Ruby can translate.
Y vamos a dar un repaso de los criterios de reclasificación, y estos son los 4 indicadores. El primer indicador sería, y lo primordial, el pasar el LPAC con un nivel 4 y algo menos no califica para reclasificación. Fijarnos en el emprendimiento académico en Dora, pasar Dora de K a 6 o SPAC de 4º grado a 6º grado. Tercero, el maestro está de acuerdo en que hay un progreso en artes lingüísticas, conocido como ELA. Cuarto, el padre o tutor están de acuerdo. Entonces, vamos a pasar aquí por donde están las cajitas. Pide el nivel de inglés, número 1, que sería el primer criterio. Dependiendo, aquí están los niveles enseñados, como los describí. Tienen que pasar a un 4 para haberlo superado. Algo menos de un 4 no es aceptable. El criterio número 2 sería el progreso académico, SPAC, 3er grado y más, competencia académica, estándares no cumplidos. Sería un 1, estándares casi cumplidos sería un 2. Y medio bajo, medio arriba, 2.5 y más alto sería considerado medio arriba. Criterio número 3, preguntar al maestro, ¿es este estudiante competente para seguir la instrucción en ELA? Sí. Si la respuesta es sí, seguimos al criterio número 4, en donde el padre le pregunta y tiene una discusión con el maestro para ver si ambas personas están de acuerdo con que el estudiante es proficiente en inglés. Esta no es una decisión que se toma unánimemente, se toma en conjunto.
Thank you. For parents of English learners, before that slide, please be always aware of the results of the LPAC when the LPAC is coming and if your child is about to reclassify. If your child reclassifies, we will contact you to get to criteria 4. And usually all of the sites do some kind of celebration for students who reclassify whenever they reclassify. So it's very important that we recognize the efforts of the English learners when they become RFIPs or fluent English.
Y para los estudiantes aprendices de inglés y los padres estudiantes aprendices de inglés, les pedimos que estén al tanto de las notificaciones que enviamos a casa, porque normalmente esas notificaciones vienen con las calificaciones y si es que su estudiante reclasificó. Y es esencial que nosotros reconozcamos el esfuerzo de nuestros estudiantes y normalmente les celebramos el que hayan pasado. Entonces, de ahí, una vez reciben esa carta de que su estudiante agarró una calificación satisfactoria, lo que sigue es que tenga contacto con el maestro y en conjunto ustedes decidan si es que es el paso adecuado o que si están de acuerdo en que el estudiante reclasifique.
They will be called to a meeting or a conference or some kind of reclassification meeting, okay?
Y para esto se les llamará una reunión de reclasificación.
Thank you. Next.
Thank you.
Okay. The other two things that I went over that they fall under my job description is the Eld Professional Development. And this professional development is for teachers, administrators, and for the program Avid Excel. So I usually do ELD for all those groups in Avid Excel. And then I also oversee interventions specific to English learners. So please be aware that English learners can participate of every intervention that the school may be providing. But in addition to that, English learners have interventions specific to meet language proficiency. So if your child is called for an English learner's intervention, the goal of that is to increase their language proficiency in order to be able to reclassify and do good in school.
Y por último, las últimas cosas que están debajo de mi descripción laboral es el desarrollo profesional, que normalmente encapsula el entrenamiento a maestros y administradores respecto a desarrollo del lenguaje integrado, desarrollo del lenguaje designado y Avid Excel. También incluye intervenciones en la cual todos los estudiantes de inglés pueden participar de cualquier intervención que brinde la escuela. Además, a los aprendices de inglés se les ofrece la oportunidad de participar en intervenciones específicas para desarrollar la fluidez en el idioma con el objetivo de alcanzar el dominio del inglés.
Thank you.
I know we have a question, Ms. Garcia in the chat. Thank you for sharing this information. Ms. Sandoval is asking, what if your child was incorrectly labeled as an English learner when English is their primary language? Does that go away?
Okay, so a lot of parents feel that way in the upper grades, but the truth is when the students come into kindergarten or TK, a lot of them know another language at home. And when you answer those questions in the survey, all that triggers is the initial test, which I'm today testing at one of the schools. That test will determine if that 5-year-old is truly an English learner or not. So it seems strange later when the students have been in school for a few years because it's true, English takes over and they no longer know the other language. But when a child at a very young age hears another language at home, their brain is developing 2 language systems. And the test, when given the initial test, tells me that that child at that time of enrollment in TK or kinder needs additional supports in the English language. So it's not a misidentification because a student at the age of 8, 9, 13 years old only speaks English. It has to do with the fact of what the student brain came in with in kindergarten or TK when they first enrolled. You want me to say that in Spanish, Ruby?
Sure, Ms. Garcia, thank you.
Can you also look at the chat in the meantime, Ms. Garcia, as she's translating so that we can also...
I thought I was going to translate it. I thought I was going to say it in Spanish, but...
go ahead.
Let me just say it because it's faster. So cuando un niño es identificado en kindergarten o en TK como aprendiz de inglés, es porque el examen inicial que les dimos basados en la encuesta indicó que ese niño tenía otro idioma en su cerebro al momento de que entró en la escuela. Ya sabemos que muchos de los estudiantes, para cuando llevan 2 o 3 años en la escuela, todo lo que hablan es inglés, pero muchos de nuestros niños desde chiquitos, desde bebé, escuchan otro idioma en la casa y su cerebro está funcionando en 2 idiomas. So, cuando les damos la prueba de inglés inicial, su nivel de inglés indica que necesita apoyos adicionales en ese idioma. Esto es lo que les identifica como aprendices de inglés. No solamente las respuestas de la encuesta, que lo único que hacen es decirnos a nosotros darle la prueba, sino que es el examen. Entonces, no es un problema de que están mal identificados. El examen dijo que tenían otro idioma en su cerebro y su inglés no era lo bastante fuerte. Solamente que cambia mucho de cuando entran con 5 años a cuando llevan, por ejemplo, un par de años, ya están en primero o en segundo. Entonces, esos apoyos, por ley, tenemos que ofrecérselos. Cuando cuando hay otro idioma, además del inglés, en sus cabecitas a la edad de 4 o 5 años. Okay, I'm going to look at the chat now.
Yes, please. Thank you, Arancha. So while Ms. Garcia also responds to some more questions in the chat, we're going to continue just to respect everyone's time. And of course, we're going to leave our information at the end so that if anyone has follow-up questions, that we are able to address them as well. Okay.
En lo que Ms. Garcia responde a más preguntas, continuaremos para respetar el tiempo de todos.
So we want to thank both departments, elementary and secondary. As you must have heard a lot of different terms, but they're all connected in terms of what we want for our kids or what they need in order for them to graduate successfully from high school. So it's the key here is connecting all those dots and making sense of all the different criterias and exams that students need to show proficiency, right? So we hope that you get a chance to go back and just really soak in a lot of the information. And if you have any follow-up questions, feel free to reach out to us.
I see a question from Maria Alvarez about the seal of biliteracy. I'm sorry, Ruby, go ahead.
No, it's okay, Ms. Garcia. Le queremos agradecer a ambos departamentos de primaria y secundaria. La clave aquí es conectar los puntos de los criterios de qué es lo que requieren los estudiantes para estar preparados para la universidad.
Okay. So Maria Alvarez says if the student only did 2 years of Spanish and 1 year of Spanish AP, will he or she get the seal of biliteracy? Okay. The answer is this. If the student does 1 year of AP and passes the AP exam, yes. If the student does 2 years of Spanish, 1 of AP and doesn't pass, no. So the student should do 1 more year. So it's 4 years of Spanish, passing the course, or passing 1 of the AP or IB test. And they need to pass either one, okay? So 3 years would not be enough. Unless he passes that exam, then yes.
La respuesta es si el estudiante toma 1 año de AP y pasa el examen, sí, son 4 años de español y pasan el AP o IB, si reciben la insignia bilingüe.
So 4 years passing their courses or passing 1 of the AP or IB exams or SAT Español. So they have 3 exams that they could take and pass.
Así que son 4 años pasando sus cursos, sus clases, o el pasar el examen AP o IB.
Okay. I don't see any other questions. I think the other question was answered.
Here, there's the one in the last one is, I think, the third to the last one. Ms. Sandoval is expressing that her student doesn't speak another language other than English. So the answer that they answered incorrectly on the survey, how do they get that removed? Because
if the student is in kindergarten, we can make a change. If the student is now in the upper grades, you cannot have that removed. The student needs to reclassify in order to show they are truly proficient in English. So that annual LPAC plus showing good grades in English is what will get them out. The test will say that the kid is truly academic English proficient.
So, aquí tenemos una pregunta, ¿no? La señora Sandoval dijo, y que si a la hora de llenar la encuesta pusimos incorrectamente el otro idioma porque su único idioma de mi hija es inglés. La respuesta es si el estudiante está en kinder aún, se pueden hacer cambios, pero si ya no está en kinder, tiene que reclasificar para mostrar la proficiencia del idioma.
Thank you, Ms. Garcia. And then
Ms. Garcia.
I'm done.
Thank you. And I know, Ms. Saavedra, thank you for that question. We're going to touch base with our Student Services Department and see whether they have additional resources for veteran families, okay? So we hope that you left your email. If not, please give us your email in the chat. That way we know where to send in the information, okay? And just lastly, I know we went over time. We thank you for your patience. And today was the last day of the series. We introduced you to many faces that work behind the scenes in our district to support students and families. So we thank you for meeting with us week after week during the whole month of September.
Y Saavedra, gracias por esa pregunta y nos contactaremos con los departamentos correspondientes para resolverle. Le pedimos que por favor ingrese su correo electrónico para que nos podamos contactar con usted.
And more than anything, we just want to thank you and also invite you. Starting in October, we will be having a new set of workshops for our families. Next Tuesday, October 5th, we'll be having our very first coffee chat. This is a parent-led chat, and they'll be discussing the topic that's titled, What Makes Your Family Strong? We invite you to come and support other families leading these chats, just like you, who are parents for the community who want to share with our families. Then on Tuesday, October 19th, Ms. Blanco and I will be leading our very first Power Hour of the year, and we're going to be talking about how can we help our children develop the skills that they need so they can be lifelong problem solvers. So we will share the flyers in the chat, and I hope that you've also received them via your schools. They're also posted in our district website. So we will hope to see you in the month of October for these next two events. And thank you for being here. And again, our email, we'll share our email in the last slide so that if you have any additional questions after today, please feel free to reach out to us.
Más que nada les queremos dar las gracias por unirse a nosotros e invertir su tiempo con nosotros. El martes 5 de octubre de 10 a 11:30 de la mañana, los padres líderes serán los anfitriones de su primer café y charla del año titulada ¿Qué hace a su familia fuerte? Una charla virtual donde las familias aprenderán cómo la construcción de factores protectores puede fortalecer a una familia. Únase a nosotros para conocer cuáles son esos factores. El martes 19 de octubre, de 10 a 11:30, Ms. Blanco y yo tendremos nuestra primera hora de poder, donde compartiremos cómo podemos ayudar a nuestros niños a desarrollar las habilidades necesarias para resolver problemas de por vida. Y en la última página, en el último dispositivo, vamos a estar dejando nuestra información disponible para que se puedan contactar con nosotros en caso de que tengan alguna duda o pregunta.
So if you're still holding on, we do have our raffle. I know Ms. Blanco's getting ready. If you gave us your name, we did enter it in the wheel. So we want to make sure that we share a little coffee with you. I know it's been a long one. If you can stand up, stretch, you can do that while the spinner is going. And we hope that you're here to see who can win the coffee today. So let's see. Spin.
Y si aún están aquí presentes con nosotros, haremos una rifa. Les invitamos a un café de parte nuestra.
Thank you.
Is Maria Alvarez here?
Sí.
Oh, felicidades, congratulations, Ms. Alvarez.
Enhorabuena.
Gracias.
Lo que le pedimos es su correo electrónico, por favor, en el chat. Your email in the chat, because we're going to email it to you. Se lo vamos a mandar por correo electrónico.
Ok. Gracias.
Okay, por favor.
Felicidades, María.
Thank you.
So enjoy a coffee on behalf of the team. Go have your pumpkin spice latte.
Disfrute un café de parte nuestra.
Gracias.
And again, it's a pleasure seeing you. We hope that you hang in there. We'll see you next week and in October for the rest of the events.
Es un placer compartir este espacio con ustedes. Les agradecemos la paciencia, el invertir su tiempo con nosotros y nos vemos la próxima semana.
Thank you.
Muchas gracias a todos y les deseamos un muy buen día.
Thank you, everyone.
Adiós.
Hasta luego, buenas tardes.
Buenas tardes.
Buenos
días.
Cuídense.
Sí, buenas tardes.
Días, tardes.